pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Today is Tuesday, January the 19th, 2021, 6 o'clock. Meeting of the Greensburg Water Board is called to order at this time. Please silence all electronic devices. To comply with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the city requests that participants in this meeting complete a voluntary anonymous survey that is available on the table in the back of the room. Can we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Robin Meyer,
Yes.
Tony Higginbotham,
Yes.
Ryan Maddox,
Yes.
Chuck Story, and Frank Massey are absent.
Very good. All right, this time, look for approval of the minutes. Everyone received a copy of the minutes. Any additions, corrections? If not, the minutes will stand approved. We have no old business, apparently. I think that's okay. New business, Darren, you got an update for us, HNTB, please.
Good evening, how's everybody? I'm going to give you an update from the last month, being it's the winter time here. Most of the work's been on the inside of things, so they started up the high service and backwash pumps, got to start up. They also started backwashing, testing all the backwashing for the filters, all the filter media. So there's gravel, sand, and then anthracite. It's a dual media type of thing. So for each of those filters, what it does is they have to put it in as a slurry. They let it settle. They skim off each layer to get the dirts and fines out. They do it for 3 processes, and then they do the whole thing. So it takes a couple days to do a filter. So that's pretty much most of the last month has been getting that filter media in place. So they've also been working, let's see, in the chemical rooms, all the lights. They've turned the heat on in those rooms, as well as getting all the wiring done on the pumps. This week we will have startup on some of that equipment and chemical feeds as well. Coating and floors in those buildings have been completed as well. We'll also get some pictures here in a minute of that. They also started on the flooring system and the admin side of things. It's a resin type of floor. Kind of give you an example, that epoxy type floor you see in garages and stuff. It's the high end of that. It's a 4-part system. They put a primer down, epoxy, and then they got the resin that they put in there, and then it gets a clear coat on top of that. So it's pretty labor intensive. They've got, I would say, they've done the back hallways, they've done the locker rooms, 2 of the offices, the break room, I think is done. They still got another restroom and the front entrance to do as well. So I'd say they're about 70% complete with that. And when they do that, they have to be off the floors for 72 hours, so it shuts all the other trades out. They're also starting putting the storefronts in the filter area, along with the windows they've got installed. They're working on some of the exterior doors. I think there's still one temporary door that they still need to do. They're trying to get it pretty tight here in the next couple of weeks that they've turned on some of the heat so they can get that done. Electricians have been all over the site tying things up and doing that. I probably mentioned last month, I thought they were a little behind, the electricians. They've been able to catch back up. I would say that one trade is still behind is the painters, coatings. Of course, that's the real big issue there is that they haven't coated the they got one coat to do on the clarifier equipment, and that's outside. So it's kind of weather dependent, or they're going to have to tint that. So they're still working through whether or not they're hoping Mother Nature gives them about a 4 or 5 day window that they can get that in there. But if not, they'll have to tent, or it has to get delayed there. So as far as the schedules, I did have a conversation today with Wilhelm, and they are pushing, trying to have kind of a startup with the new plant the week of February 15th through the 19th, probably more toward the end of the week. And if it gets to where I told them we're not starting the plant up on a Friday, if it gets to be a Friday they want to start up, we'll push it to the next Monday. That's tentative, all subject to change and everything coming together. So, but that's still what they're pushing forward with. But still, again, contractually they have till the end of May 24th to be substantially complete. So they're still they're ahead of schedule from that standpoint, from a contractual standpoint. All along, it's been their goal to be ahead of schedule, so that's where they're on that. I do have before you change order number 2. Unfortunately, with the COVID, I can't get to my office very well. I only have 1 copy, so I will kind of walk through, and there are about 8 items on it. Overall, it's an increase of $11,000 for this change order. If you remember right, change order number 1 was a negative number, so we are still to the good 48,000. So we're still below budget to budget. So probably we'll have another change order here either next month or thereafter. We're getting closer and closer to where we're going to be kind of break even. So I think we're still in good shape. We do have some contingency to cover some change orders too as built in. So I don't think we'll approach that number. So some of the items real quickly. There was a door that we had to change out. It's had the wrong header. We had to reduce the header there. That was for $1,021. He did ask for a time extension for the week they were shut down due to COVID. All that is just an additional week. Again, I think they asked for that. There's still money with that, just to set additional days in case they need it at the end. More than likely, those days will be at the final toward the end of next year. There was a door that was swinging the wrong way. We had to get that changed from right hand to the left hand reverse. Fortunately, the door was already manufactured, so we had to purchase a new door, so that was $1,700. We added some additional bollards to protect around the sludge vaults. That was $1,700. The north building, we were going by that with the storm sewer. We ran into some of the under drain for the downspouts. We had to rip that up, so we had to replace that. It was $840. We missed one piece of equipment that needed grounding, so we had to run some grounding wire. It's $2,700. We also, because of how much backfill we had around building number 8, we had to extend some of the grounding rods. That was another $26. And we had to get a plate for the fluoride day tank escape. Overall, again, that totaled an additional $11,586. I have that before you for approval.
All right. Have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the change order number 2.
Second. Very good. We have a roll call down, please.
Robin?
Yes.
Tony?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
And I guess I have to go over there, so I'm gonna walk over here and show you the selection.
Well, you're gonna probably have to turn around.
Here, they are. This helps. I'll keep my mask on this way. Here they're placing the gravel in one of the filter beds. What they use is they have a mixture, tank outside, and mix it with water to gravel, create a slurry so they can pump it into it so they don't have to haul that into the filter building. They did that with all the media. Here you can see this is where it's real black. That is the anthracite. That's the top layer of media, and they're backwashing it to clean. They just kind of clean out the dirt debris that when they put it in there. And then it's hard to see in that, but if you kind of look here in the middle there, what they're doing is they skim off about every time they put a layer of media in, they skim off the top 2 inches, kind of that where all the debris ends up, and so they get clean media to start with. Here you can kind of see they're installing, this is a shot of the storefront windows, kind of gives you an idea of how it will look. There'll be solid glass and all that framework there that will isolate the filters from the center gallery there. And the big reason that is to keep the chlorine off gas from contaminating things. This is a prep work for the floors in the locker room. Again, all the concrete got grinded and all the cracks and stuff were sealed up before they put the new flooring down. Here's a shot of the hallway. You can see the lower half is the epoxy or kind of the primer stuff, and then you can see they're adding in what they call flakes, which is a mixture of a plastic resin with some sand and a few other things. And then there's a final shot of the floor in the brick room. We did also run it up on the side of the walls and stuff, so that in theory it is watertight, that if you had a spill in there it would contain water for about 4 inches thick. The pictures don't do it real good. It actually looks pretty good. So, and because we're still working, they put down a bunch of underlayment to protect the flooring. That's what you're looking at there. Here they're still painting piping in the gallery. You see the guy, kind of hard to see him there, he's hanging out, literally. I would say there's one section of run they still have to coat yet, but for the most part they've got all the rest of the piping in that gallery coated. Here we're looking at the alum room. This is the finished floor. This is a little different flooring system with the chemical rooms. It's a little more chemical resistant. Again, I think it's that is a three-part system as well. And this is the pack room. Because the powder activated carbon is a little darker, we went with a little darker floor so it doesn't show up as much. And here is the lab. We've got just this week set the cabinetry and countertop in there. We're looking at the north wall. And there's the south wall where they have all the 3 sinks. All those piping that you see up on the wall, those are all the sample ports. So they'll be pulling samples from throughout the plant. They'll all come right there. That's a shot of the antenna for the controls that will be able, so they can talk to the remote sites, Flat Rock and Upland. In fact, they raised that up today. They brought in a crane and set that up. I think it's 60 foot high. This is one of the exterior doors they got in the last month as well. So I think that's it. Like I said, a lot of their work focused in on the filters this last month, so I didn't want to take 100 pictures of looking at the same thing. So. Any questions?
They're good, thanks, Sharon, for the update. All right, next on the agenda, 421 South Water Line. Yep.
Just to add a little bit to that, we're actually starting training tomorrow on some of the sodium, the fluoride, and the liquid alum, the pumps and pumping system, how everything works, if we have a breakdown, or how to adjust everything. It's going to be tomorrow, Thursday, and then I think next Monday, they said something about the high service pumps maybe.
Yeah, I knew Tuesday they're starting up the generator too.
In the next 3 or 4 weeks, we're gonna have operators coming in and out for different training on different things, so should be good to go. 421 South Waterline, kind of at the beginning stages. We've had some trouble in the area right in front of Wheaton's house, in that section. It has broke a few times just south of the creek, north of Terra Road. What I would like to do when I talk with Aaron, since it's on a state right of way, we have to have it engineered. It's roughly 1,350 foot from Wilder. Around that corner, I'm planning on staying on the same side of the road, crossing the creek and tying into Terra Road, replacing that whole water main. In the past, it's cracked. When it goes from cracking to holes in the water main, it's time to replace it. We're at that point now, so I would like your blessing to go ahead. I did meet with Donna last week and talked about the money, which is quite tight, actually. So if it's all right with you guys, I'll go ahead and get a price from Darren and a price possibly on replacing that whole section there. Now keep in mind, this is something that we cannot do in-house. I got a 4-man crew full-time, and it's gonna take flagman and being along the state right away, so we're gonna have to, it's a job we're gonna have to bid out.
How old is that line, Rick?
Oh my gosh, Robin, I couldn't tell you, I don't know.
Older than me and you?
It's older than me.
I can't
That also-
comment.
I don't know about you.
Rick, Locust ties into that as well, right?
Yeah, we had that tapped and we ran a new main up Locust Steel probably 10 or 12 years ago.
Was it on New Year's Eve that, like, you guys were working on it?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought I drove past it. and
We had
saw
2 of them that day. We had one just west of the railroad tracks on West Main, and then we had the one on 421 South, so.
I went by and saw Rick in tobacco all by himself on New Year's Eve.
Well, them guys were butting up on West Main, so I thought I'd go start.
Well, good to see you there, Rick. Appreciate it.
Yep. So hopefully next month I'll have, some numbers for you and we'll just go from there. I don't know.
Okay. Very good.
I actually had the Holland Lease. I must have left it on my desk. So I'll bring it by tomorrow, and get it signed if it's, approved tonight. It's the same thing we've had for years and years. It's the Ted Holland Lease that we leased the property up, north on 421 there by Flat Rock River. I think it's $22.50 a half is what he pays.
Okay.
So if I can get your approval on that, then like I say, I'll come by, tomorrow. Tomorrow's kind of busy, probably Thursday, and then get signatures.
That's annual lease.
Yes.
All right. I'll move we approve, the annual lease as we've been doing in the past for the Holland lease. Second. There's a motion to second, Donna?
Robin,
Yes.
Tony,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Good.
That's all I have.
That's all you got?
Any questions for me?
Well, tell your crews thanks for all the work they do out in this crappy weather.
I'll definitely do that.
And I know it's cold. I know it's going to be cold for a while, so
I'd like to hear that.
always good seeing you out there with the guys, Rick.
Got a good crew.
Yep, very good.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
I don't have anything.
Something from the mayor?
No.
All right. Anyone else have something they'd like to bring forth tonight?
I would like to say something. The city is looking at new accounting software. With that accounting software, it has inventory assets, utility billing. It's a full package that would integrate citywide. It's got planning and everything in it, so I'm looking at it as well. I don't have any numbers this month, but I think it would be a good move for us to jump on the train as well. The idea makes me tired thinking about it, but it seemed to be a really good program, so I'll bring back numbers next month to see what you guys think.
That's something all the departments are looking on?
It's mostly, yeah, I mean, it's mostly the accounting side, so it's mostly clerk treasurer's office items, but there is a segment that allows for the building planning department to issue work orders and building permits and update things through that. And then it also, my understanding is, helps tie the two banks, the utilities and the city together for how those funds do interact with each other.
Yeah.
So,
And like it is, because we use the inventory package with all the utility stuff. I don't think the city probably does, but it has an asset module as well, and it all interacts with the general ledger. You don't have to post anything separate, it all posts. So it's a good package.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else have anything? If not, we'll stand adjourned.
Okay.